Hey, this is Evan Markatz, dating coach for smart, strong, successful women, your personal trainer for love. Welcome back to the Love You podcast, where I teach you everything you need to know about dating, relationships, sex, and men from a man's point of view. Today, we are getting into an important topic that affects everybody, but I think it might affect women even more than men, and that's why overthinking is killing your relationship. Before we get to the meat of this, let me just remind you that the Love You podcast is for free. All I ask from you is that if you enjoy this podcast, give us a positive review on Apple, give us a positive review on Spotify, share a nice comment on YouTube or subscribe there, tell a friend, etc. Spreading the love is all I ask out of your listenership. So thank you in advance. This past spring, I did something I never did before. Not never did before, but I haven't done in many, many years. I took on a male client. First 5 years of my career, I had male clients. I was a unisex dating coach. I made up the job of dating coaching, and I just called myself a dating coach. And 80% of my clients were women, and 20% of my clients were men. So eventually, I lopped off all the men and focused on the women because men need help but rarely ask for it, which is why I'm a dating coach for women. Men absolutely need help. Well, some guy has been following me online for a long period of time and saw through all my marketing and said, hey, I think you can help me. And I talked to him on the phone and I said, I really don't take on guys. All of my content is for women. I've got a Facebook group with women and I have a group coaching with women. And he's like, no, I want to talk to you one-on-one and navigate this time in my life. He's in his mid-late 60s and divorced, dating for pretty much the first time, and wants to get it right. So I started working with this gentleman. It's been an amazing experience. It's very different than the rest of my work. And I want to share a story about him without obviously identifying him in any way. So through our work, he got himself a girlfriend. Proof of concept. Even men could find girlfriends. So he found himself a girlfriend, and she's really, really great. And they're 3 months into their relationship. Not really sure. Not a very long relationship, but it's moving fast emotionally. They see each other a lot. They talk a lot. It's strong. And what's interesting about the relationship, and the reason I'm bringing it up, is that he has told her about me. Now, I've told my clients in the past, don't talk about me. It sounds weird, but I'm not doing this for glory. You don't need to brag to your boyfriend that you had a dating coach. I've only gone to one of my clients' weddings, even though I've gotten hundreds of wedding photos. So I understand if people don't want to talk about me, but this guy is really sort of proud of having hired me and excited about what he's learning. And so he's been talking to his girlfriend about me. And in turn, she has been talking to him about what she's going through in her therapy. And it makes for an interesting dynamic in that we could say on one hand, isn't this the most beautiful thing? These are people in their 60s. They're smart. They're self-aware. They're going through a process. They're learning their lessons in real time. They deserve credit. Indeed, they deserve credit for taking the bull by the horns, asking for help, being transparent about the fact that they've made mistakes in the past and they don't want to make mistakes in the future. But in listening to my client talk about his girlfriend, I was sort of struck by, and I know I'm a dating coach and I only have a narrow window into his world, I was struck by how serious everything seemed in their relationship. Everything was a relationship discussion, right? Oh, I'm an avoidant attachment style. Oh, I'm a recovering anxious attachment style. I once cheated on someone. I have issues with cheaters. I have trust issues. I have childhood abandonment issues. And so the therapizing of their relationship, on one hand, is a step forward from a time where people didn't do this and didn't talk about it. But it seemed to me that they were spending so much time talking about their relationship that they spent less time being in the relationship, meaning they were analyzing themselves so much that they were almost forgetting to enjoy themselves. And again, I don't want to say they didn't enjoy themselves. They're a couple. They're they're doing things together. It's a would appear to be a healthy relationship. But every bump in the road, every question mark elicits a relationship discussion where they're sharing their notes with each other and sitting down and talking about us. And so, I'm talking about relationships. My North Star, for obvious reasons, is my relationship. It's a relationship that's fundamentally easy. When I reflect back, I don't remember talking about the minutia of my relationships with my girlfriend, fiance, and later wife. We didn't really spend too much time talking about us. We just were. And it was easy and it was fun. And we weren't trying to micromanage the entire process because, I don't know, I guess we were just enjoying each other's company. And I don't ever think it was clueless. I mean, I was taking it really seriously. I was the one who was worried. I was in therapy at the time because I really wanted to make the right decision. But for the most part, we spent more time being a couple than talking about being a couple. More time being compatible than talking about being compatible. So my client, understandably, is trying to iron out problems as they arise, maybe even get ahead of the problems before they even take place. And it seems to me that they're kind of analyzing the entire thing to death. So while they have the right impulses, they have the right intentions, right? They seem to be so worried about getting hurt or wasting time. By putting this whole thing under the microscope, it's like they're strangling it to death. It's like they have a death grip on the steering wheel. So a good relationship is more like a good book you don't want to put down. The pages just keep turning, and you don't have to constantly pause and say, let's discuss what was on page 227 right now. Right? You can just keep turning the pages, and it flows. And so it's mostly a feeling. But the feeling comes from trust. And I can understand why anybody who's had a series of bad relationships wants to be really, really cautious and iron these things out. Now, I've witnessed this for years. This isn't a new phenomenon. I only brought this up because I happen to have a male client and he happens to have a great relationship, and they happen to spend a lot of time talking about themselves rather than just enjoying themselves. Right? But that's not new. Overthinking is universal, and I've seen it throughout my 20 years of coaching, but very notably on my Facebook group. I've got a private Facebook group for people who've taken Love You. And I've seen in there, women will write like 1,000 words. They'll write this long missive. And I've been seeing this guy for 3 weeks, and we've gone out 5 times, and we hooked up twice, and he texts every day, but he didn't text today, and I'm kind of freaking out. And here's the last thing he wrote. And guys, what should I do? And it's like a whole thing. And the women who are new there express a lot of empathy for her, and maybe he's abandoning you, maybe his feelings have changed. I've had guys who've done that. They're more in the fear place. The women who are Love You graduates who fall in love and gotten married know that this is not a big deal, and they try to talk her off the ledge. And I, after all the other people have weighed in, usually just put 2 letters, OT. And OT stands for overthinking, because there's not much more to say about that than there's not actually a problem here. The only problem is the problem that's in your head. And invariably, that's what proves to be true. The guy who liked her for the past 3 weeks and was really excited about her and all of the communication was really positive, if he didn't text her for the first 5 hours of the day, it was probably because he was busy at work. And she'll usually come right back with, okay, guys, he just texted, everything's okay. Whew, sorry. That happens all the time. And it's not to blame women for that. Obviously, women have been led to believe that there's lots of guys who are not good with their word and that they're going to leave. I pay attention to sort of the larger patterns and the larger feelings. If a guy was really excited about you yesterday, he's probably still excited about you today. If nothing's happened, there's no reason he should abandon you. The most predictable thing is that if you haven't heard from him by text today, you'll hear from him a little bit later. So I usually see people kind of spinning out of control and overthinking. And so that doesn't come naturally for most people because we're all scarred by the experiences of our past. Right? But we can't carry that with us. Right? We say in Love You, the next guy has nothing to do with the last guy. We have to come from a place of confidence. We have to come from a place of abundance. We have to come from a place of trust. And for people who have do not associate dating with confidence or abundance or trust, that is a challenging exercise. That's exactly why we get on a coaching call every week, to ground people in the reality of all it takes is a good guy to show you how much he likes you for you to start to relax and trust and become, what I'm fortunate enough to have in my relationship, which is a relationship where we never really have to question the relationship. That's never on the table. Any argument we have is just about a thing, right? What are we spending money on? Who's driving the kids to soccer? Are we going to stay in or go out this weekend? Are we visiting your family? Like, those are the things we fight about. There's nothing that undermines the relationship. And especially early in a relationship, you really shouldn't have anything too heavy to discuss 3 months in. It should be the honeymoon phase. It should be easy breezy. And so that's one of the greater ironies about being a dating coach is I could, in my Love You course, I got 280 videos. I could give you hundreds of little tiny things that you can do to choose men better, date online better, communicate better, handle sex better, date multiple men, set healthy boundaries, own your confidence. There's a whole bunch of tiny things you could do differently. But I also acknowledge in the course that you can't do the wrong thing with the right guy. So if you're in your head all the time and like, how do I respond to this text? When do I respond to this text? If he says this, then I should say this. And you really start to micromanage it. That's going to sort of crush your soul and diminish you. You're not going to be your freest, happiest, most carefree self. You're not going to be the most likable version of yourself. You're going to be sclerotic. You're going to be, I don't even know what the word is. So afraid of doing anything that you lose your shine. And I want you to have your shine. I want you to be with your boyfriend or the guy you're seeing, the best person you are. Who are you when you're with your best girlfriend or your sister or your mom or wherever you're your best self? That's who you should be with your guy. If you're in your head all the time, right, you don't talk with your best friend. Hey, where's this friendship going? I notice we have different opinions on how we vote. Should we iron that out to continue this friendship? Best friends usually don't do that. They just accept. So we treat this romantic relationship really, really differently, and we end up suffocating it to our own detriment, right? So if you believe what I say, which is that you can't do the wrong thing with the right guy, right? And if he's a good guy and he's communicated with you that he wants a long-term relationship with you, and all of his actions have indicated that, let go of the steering wheel. Let it happen. Enjoy. Come from a place of curiosity rather than a place of fear. Okay? You won't know if you're compatible by ironing things out, by discussing them and comparing attachment styles and love languages. It's interesting. They're data points, but ultimately it's the willingness to work together and ignore each other's flaws and communicate around them and say a lot of yes, dear to each other. That's really the secret. And so if you found yourself analyzing your relationships, especially really early in the relationship, the more you can sort of pull back from it and just trust your feelings. Is this a good person? Are they treating me well? Am I enjoying the ride? Just allow it to take shape without trying to smother it. If you've struggled with this, if the idea of being light and free and enjoying dating, relationships, online dating, flirting feels weird to you and you haven't had a good handle on this in your past, I invite you to come for coaching. Just go to evanmarckatz.com/now, put in your name, email address, fill out a very short application to book a free breakthrough session with me. And all we're going to do is talk about what's going on in your love life, what's not working in your love life, what your patterns are, what you'd like to see happen, what's getting in the way of your success. And then we'll plot a course so that you can make dating fun, effective, and a thing you'll no longer have to do. Because once you get good at dating, you could find yourself one person and get out of the whole dating rat race once and for all. That's the entire purpose. I don't want to turn you into a professional dating coach or a professional online dater. I want you to find your person. So go to evanmarckatz.com/now and apply if you're interested. My name is Evan Mark Katz. This is the Love You Podcast. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Thank you for trusting that even though I share things that sound like they're contradictory, I'm owning those contradictions. Yes, you have to pay attention to red flags. No, paying attention to red flags with an iron grip is not going to make him like you more, right? Being more carefree and loose and trusting is more effective, and it's more effective for men and it's more effective for women. This is universal across the board. So I know some of these things feel contradictory. They're not always easy to hear, but that's why we cover these things in coaching calls and we go back and forth so we can iron it out and help you make sense of these ideas so you could apply them to your real life, not just listen to it on a podcast. So follow me on Spotify, follow me on Facebook, Instagram, all the places. And thank you so much for your time and attention today. I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.